Good evening, everyone. My name is Janet Cape. I am the founder of A Social Light Production, and you have reached our Facebook Live with Bankcity, I was about to say Bankcity Charlotte, Bankcity Shaka. I'll go into introducing who he is a little bit later, but I want to, of course, like I said, welcome, and I'm gonna do what I always do, which is open up with a really quick prayer, and then we will get started. So Father God, we just thank you for this time. As I always say, please let your people hear and see you through us, Lord God. This is storytelling from the perspective of Shaka, and the goal is to just help others to see a deeper perspective of one, who he is and what he does. So God, we just thank you in advance for an awesome conversation. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. All righty, so real quick for those who are new to the platform, or even, if you don't know who I am, like I said, my name is Janet Cape, and A Social Light Production, a really quick overview, is a social platform for storytelling. Our mission is connecting the world through faith, culture, and entertainment. And a really good way to connect the world is through authentic storytelling. I'm one who's a networker, who's a connector. I love to talk, I love to promote, I love to give people a platform so that they can tell their story. And so tonight, I am excited to give a platform to Bankcity Shaka. I don't know why I want to say Bankcity Charlotte. Maybe he's about to take over the city. Maybe that's why, I don't know. But, one thing about Shaka, when I think of Shaka, this may sound corny, but I don't care. I think of the first verse of the song, Coming In Hot by rapper Lecrae. And for those who don't know it, I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I gotta dance with it, right? I would do the rest of it because I love it, but I don't want to do the most. So I stopped there. But the reason why I picked that, I think of that song, because Shaka does not do the most. He's never done the most. I've known Shaka since I was in middle school. And the evolution of Shaka, he has grown, he has matured, but he still don't do the most. He's chill, he's low key. But he does a lot. Like I said, I don't want to sound corny, but I think of that because those are the people you really need to pull in, because they're not doing it for fame or status. They're doing it for purpose. They are authentic with it. And so with Shaka, the way I describe him, he may not describe himself as such, but he's a dynamic, humble leader. He co-leads Bankcity Bike Club, in which they, the whole goal around that is to build a healthy lifestyle, and that comes through cycling. I also see him as an influencer, not the superficial type that's trying to, just get attention. But like I said, he doesn't do the most, but he does a lot, and he moves in silence. And he influences and motivates people to live better. Health is a big part of it, but that health is tied to so much. And so when I heard about, and like I said, we'll go into Bankcity as we go into the conversation, but when I found out about the whole group and that he co-leads it, I got really excited because they are connectors. They are building a bridge in the community and the city. And like I said, A Social Light Production, that's what we do. So I said I definitely had to have him on. I'm not realizing it was going to be a year later, but I think it's the perfect timing. So like I said, Shaka doesn't say a lot, but he's going to say a lot tonight. You ready, Shaka?
I'm ready.
So tonight's conversation, I'm going to kind of put it into three buckets. Two of those buckets may be combined. Who is Bankcity Shaka? Who is Bankcity Shaka? And then we're going to talk about health, wealth, and lifestyle. There's a lot of components within that. So it's not the typical thing that you think you're going to hear. But before we go there, I want you guys to get to know Bankcity Shaka a little bit more. For those who do not know him, and also for those who know him but do not know him. Like I said, he doesn't say a whole bunch. Not that he doesn't talk, but he just doesn't go that deep unless he doesn't feel the need to. But I sat down with him a few weeks ago. We just had a really, really deep conversation. I was just like, I didn't know all that was in there. So I'm going to start off by asking Shaka. Of course, I already said his name, but Shaka, introduce yourself by, of course, telling them your name. Tell them where you are from, where you reside, and talk a little bit about your family.
Okay. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, born and raised. Live in Concord at the moment. Yeah, I've been lived here all my life. You described me pretty good. I actually that song, when you were saying it, I was like, it actually do fit my personality. That was on my brain. I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm quiet, I'm laid back, but humble, but I'm very analytical.
Yes.
I process information pretty fast and try to just be observe initially before I kind of make moves. And oddly enough, is I actually never been on social media, so Bankcity Shaka. My name is Shaka, but that's where that name was born. That's like me creating a social media, name, and it was derived from the club we created. So,
love it. So, my next question was already pretty much answered, but just in case you have anything to add, who is Shaka? But you described that, right? But do you have anything else to add, maybe as it relates to just your nature, your character, or we pretty much summed it up?
Yeah, I summed it up. I mean, outside of just, a husband, a father, God fearing.
Yeah.
And, striving to always be positive and productive.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of husband and the father, I don't know if you guys can see those beautiful pictures in the background. I just love it, but that's his family that he's referring to. So before I go into what you do, I have a couple of fun, I call them fun questions. It's not, it may be fun or not, but it's fun to me. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to start a sentence and you're going to finish it, right? So if I knew then what I knew now, what? So if you knew.
Yeah, no, I got you. If I knew then what I knew now.
Got you.
I would have accomplished way more. I would have impacted a lot more lives. And I would been able to not just impact a lot of more lives, but have secured a lot of my family members in a better financial situation as well.
Yes, and we're definitely going to get more into that conversation. Okay, I love what you love what?
I love God.
That's good. That's good. Okay. I'm
afraid. And what God loves.
You love God and what God loves.
Yes.
Okay. We can get more into that later. Okay. I am afraid of.
To not be pleasing in God's eye.
You better preach. I thought you was about to say nothing because it sounds like that's you as well. But
I mean, yeah, I mean, no, I mean, you got to think, no matter what you do in life, if the things you do or the things you think you accomplish, if it don't please God, then really it shouldn't really please you, right?
That is correct. That is correct. 2 more questions. Something interesting about me is what statements? Something interesting about me is, meaning you.
That I think one of the interesting things is I'm real good at like taking information, and if I understand it, being able to explain and articulate it where somebody else can understand it, like in simplest form.
Gotcha. That's good. That is indeed good. And then lastly, hopefully you'll be honest here. My
Go ahead.
Say it again.
No, go ahead.
Okay. My most embarrassing moment was.
My most embarrassing moment.
Yeah, your most.
Publicly? Publicly?
Whatever embarrassing moment you want to.
My most embarrassing moment? See, I really have to think about that.
You ain't never trip and fall. You ain't never, I don't know, just embarrassing moment. Have you ever fallen off the bike?
Yeah, I feel, but that's a crash, and I'm not embarrassed about crashing.
See, that's the perspective,
and
y'all.
then I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you, like the reason why I really had to think about it, because I don't really get embarrassed too much, right? Even if something happens that, that I didn't want to happen or I didn't want anybody to see, it's all just a learning experience. So I don't really, I don't really.
No, I'm so glad I asked these questions because again, you think different. And that's what I want people to see. Like for me, answering that question, I'll probably talk about the time I fell in front of everyone or did whatever, whereas you see it different. And that's why you are a dynamic leader. So I want to end the introduction by talking about what you do, and then we'll go into talking about Bankcity Bike Club. But just tell the people a little bit about what you do.
Okay. Yeah. I've had a truck company since 2012, so I've been in that business that space for a long time, and I invest a little bit. I do a little in real estate, a little in stocks. I've been in the crypto space for like 6 years, cryptocurrency, that is. Actively right now, lately, what I've been doing is day trading. So I really love that. And not like what most people day trade, like Forex or equities or whatever, but I've been day trading on the futures market, a 30-year bond and a 10-year treasury note, which is something different, but it's cool. I like it.
Okay. All righty. And then what do you do in the community?
Man, we're always trying to be active as much as we can. I mean, from far as even with the club, or I think the club is the vehicle now that we have to really get active. But prior to that, from feeding the homeless and doing those small things, now with the club, we can just take it to a larger scale. We fed families on Thanksgiving, like giveaways, and we started the club during the pandemic. So we still got so much room to grow and so much more things that we really want to do and start implementing.
Absolutely. And so I'm going to break this part of the conversation down a little bit more, because I really want people to see just what you guys have created and are continuing to push out in the community. Like I said, during the introduction, when I found out about Bankcity Bike Club, I just got real excited because it was during a time where it was a lot of social injustice and the pandemic and just a lot of stuff that was making people feel heavy and making people feel like, dang, what can I do? Or what's out there that I can align myself with? And so when I saw that, not only was I excited about the initiative, but you see these Black brothers and sisters and even Caucasians, because it's diverse. It's everybody can belong, but it's led by Black males, if I'm not mistaken, right? Can you talk about the leadership, like how it came together?
It came together. Yeah, so honestly, it wasn't planned at all. During the pandemic, of course, they shut down all the gyms and things of that nature. And I had a hybrid bike, like a bike for trails from years ago. And David, which is somebody I've been knowing since middle school, he had a bike, and it was a few more of my friends, EJ and Cap, which he used to play for the Panthers. He encouraged us to start riding with him. I think I was probably the first one, and a few more guys who he cut hair with, Juan and Reggie. So, first me and him and I think, I can't remember who else started, but it was just me and him started riding. Then next thing you know, I think EJ and Cap and Warren, they came out there, started riding, and we were just like, hey man, we might as well just start a bike club.
Yeah.
And he already had a nickname of Bankcity Bug, but we call him Bubba.
Bubba.
Yeah. So he already had that nickname, and it was just me, him, Cap, and EJ, and we like, okay, well, what name should we call the bike club? And we was just like, well, we want to represent the city. We're from Charlotte. Charlotte is known as the Queen City. And at the time, it was just 4 guys. So we didn't want to take on Queen City Bike Club. And like, or I don't know who said it, but we just decided, you know what? Charlotte is the number 2 banking city, or what they call banking center. So let's go with Bank City. That's another name for Charlotte. So that's what Bankcity Bike Club came from.
I love it.
So Bankcity Bike Club, and then we kind of like created the Instagram page, Bankcity Bike Club, and I created me an Instagram page for the first time, and I said, well, I'll just be Bankcity Shaka, right?
Yeah.
So a few of us changed our name and put Bank City in front of it.
Yeah.
And from there, we had other friends who we knew, and some of them already had bikes, and they saw us, they were like, oh, cool. Like, because, cycling it's not really cool in our community. Like, unless you just supported a sport, like, because I didn't even know about cycling. I didn't know it was a sport until I started riding.
Yeah.
So a lot of other guys who we knew seen us, and they came, from different directions, from just association. And then before you know it, it was born.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. I mean, you make a good point, and I was going to ask that question because I'm assuming people who maybe don't cycle are starting to learn how to cycle and enjoy it because of that. And then, of course, people who do cycle come and join. But when did you started cycling? Like, because you started cycling before this club. So when?
Well, I did, but not really, though. See, I thought we was just really riding bikes when I put it in perspective now. And that's the same thing I did when I was little. And we all rode bikes when we was little, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I didn't know cycling was an actual sport. And I'm almost positive none of the guys we was riding with knew. I mean, I would ask him, maybe a few who may have, been involved in cycling before us, but most of us who started during the pandemic, I didn't know it was a sport. So when I used to ride my hybrid bike and we'd ride on the trails, we'd be riding on sidewalks and, riding, zooming past people real fast, and didn't even know that wasn't proper bike etiquette. Right?
Yeah.
Like we didn't know.
You were just doing it.
Just riding. And then as we started to get more familiar with the sport, and it became more of just not just like riding, but this is actually like, oh, people are coming now. Oh, we got a movement. Oh, this is actually therapeutic for us now, or for some of us. Like it's peaceful. It's like when you start to find the different things, and then you're like, oh, this is something. This is a blessing. Now you want to figure out a way to give back and let other people who may not be aware as well possibly find some type of benefit if it's there. So that's when we're starting to see, and we say we need to make this more as a vehicle and as a tool. We can actually use this to get in the community and start introducing this to a lot of people, in particular inner city youth, because I know me coming up, I didn't know anything about cycling growing up on the west side of Charlotte. And I'm sure none of the guys who rode bikes like we did when we was little knew that it was actually a sport that you can transition to. And you can do it. Like, I mean, I ride bikes now with some of the guys, they 80 years old, riding 100 miles with me. It's something you can do for a long period of time to prolong your health.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting to hear you talk about how, you didn't know proper etiquette, but clearly you guys learned along the way. I was doing a little research just to find out about cyclists, because to your point, it's not something that like HBCUs had, or that's promoted in the Black community. And so I heard about a guy, his name is Major Taylor.
Major Taylor?
Yeah, and I'm like, how come I ain't never hear about this guy? But
well, I just learned about him as well when I started cycling. So
but I love his story.
Yeah, right.
I love the story of how he was just doing it for fun outside, doing tricks. And then it turned into the hobby turned into a sport. But what's interesting, and it was during the time where, it was a lot of segregation, and he was not welcome, but yet he was welcome for his skill. And he literally had to teach himself all of the etiquettes and the rules right before the competition. But long story short, he broke records, not just for Black people, but like on top, right? Like world records. And so I just love that, and to see how it's continuing. And I saw, it was another story I saw about someone who's trying to bring it to HBCUs.
Yeah, John C. Smith just launched a program.
That is awesome.
That's awesome, right? Yeah. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, they just did it, and it's growing. So the sport is growing. It's still early stages. And what Major Taylor started, and there's other, you still got like a lot of Black cyclists like still pioneering that movement. It's still obstacles and things that need to be barriers that need to be broken. And you got people like Bahati, and who I've met during my cycling journey, and Justin Williams, who is like probably the LeBron James of cycling right now. You know what I mean? And him and his brothers, they're doing a lot of great things, and it's a lot more. But yeah, so it's a growing sport.
Yeah.
And it's a whole nother, like almost like another world for people who don't even know it existed. I know that's how I feel.
No, yeah, you're right. And I saw on your website, on the club's website, about underprivileged youth and giving them an opportunity to learn about something that they don't even know is an option. And there's so much more that I know you guys are going to bring outside of cycling, but it starts there. It's like you're finding that connection point through health, wealth, lifestyle. You gain their attention, and then you have influence to influence them in other areas. So I kind of want to talk about that, the influence that Bankcity Bike Club brings, and what you guys are trying to do beyond the bike.
Well, yeah, the influence, first we're starting by trying to bring the awareness, right? So we're riding in these areas and we want to be seen. And, it looks good to actually see, 20, 30 Black men and some sisters on a bike.
Yes.
And kids, it's almost like, it's funny because, well, I wouldn't say it's funny, but we still get the same, a lot of time, like experience from like cars and people riding with the horn, and they love to see it. But imagine how that's impacting the youth. Like, cause I know me coming up, I never saw that and didn't know it existed. So most inner city youth think that if they ain't rapping, if it's sports, right? It's basketball or football mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, some go play baseball and things, but you don't consider something that you've been doing all your life, like cycling, as a sport. Something that you can transition to if you desire to.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think of it as an option. So just to bring that awareness and let them know that it is an option, and there's avenues, there's training, and you can actually go forward with it. So
yeah, that's awesome. And as more awareness continues to spread, it's even an opportunity to help train kids for scholarships if it leads to that. It's just so much. The last question I'm gonna ask here in this bucket is, what do you vision, or what do you guys vision for Bankcity's future? And I don't want you to look at it from the perspective of the resources you have now. Look at it beyond your resources, whatever you feel like God is probably trying to push this club to do for the city. Because the name isn't Bankcity Bike Club just because. There's a reason why there's city on that name.
Right. So one of my visions is what we discussed, right? Starting out with being impactful and creating that awareness where we can, allow inner city youth in the surrounding area to see, but become global with it, and unite with a lot of other like-minded individuals who's trying to do the same thing about advancing the sport. Absolutely. And maybe become instrumental in helping in that process, where we can be, a united front of people who's hosting races and events. That's other, children who came behind us is benefiting from. Maybe we're laying the groundworks now, and maybe it take 5 years, but we might, you never know. You can look back and say, I helped pioneer that, right? And things like that. And that's, that's a part of being impactful. Yeah. That's a part of, leaving a legacy or something that's going to be beneficial after you're gone. So things of that nature. And I mean, and the sky is really the limit. Like, it's no real, like, division. There's no like cap on it.
No,
like I'm looking at it as something that we really can just use and just expand and just go into all different spaces and places with it.
Absolutely. And like you said, global, that's what I saw. And I'm not a part of the leadership team, but I just saw so much. Again, like I said, in my research, I hope I have this name correct, but it's, I think it's the Black Cyclist Network. I believe they're in London, well, headquarter or whatever. The guy, he's in London, but he's Ghanaian. But anyway, you're familiar with it? Okay, I figured you were, but I lied. There's one more question within this bucket, because when you talk about connecting, you guys travel. Now, I don't think you've traveled internationally yet. I know it's coming, but
it's coming.
Yeah, with the Black Cyclist Network, they do what you do, but their goal is global. That's what they're pushing.
Right.
You guys go to different cities. Talk about some of the clubs that you've linked up with in other cities.
So Miami, one of the places we go annually now. It's a club there called Level Up. And one of the founders, her name is Erica. Level Up Cycling Movement. And she's been in the space for years, a lot longer than we have. And she's really like one of the, I would say, similar to the sentiment that I share. Like I can tell that she really want to see the sport grow. Yeah. And want to help any way she can to, bridge those gaps with the community. She do a lot of work with the community. They give away bikes every year we go. We do a big showing. I just left from there. I think it was the weekend of the 12th of December. So for their Paddle with the Pros, which is where pros come out. And this particular year, I was able to meet, I told you, Justin Williams, who I said was like the LeBron James. And Bahati came out, which is another person who's been spearheaded. He's actually older than Justin, so he was doing it a little bit before him, but they all know each other. They all from California. So that club in Miami, there's a club in Philly. We met KRT, QRT, TCRs in Philly. One of the members of that club just opened up I think it was the first Black cycling club or bike shop, rather, in Philly. It's called Tricycle. Yeah.
I love it.
His name is Mike, and I went down there for their grand opening and visited them. So we all try to, like, as we travel and network and meet each other, we all try to continue to communicate and support each other events. One of the biggest events I went to was the One Love event, it's in Atlanta. And I'm talking about everybody, even from out the country, come to Atlanta. I ain't never seen so many Black cyclists in my life at one point. That was the first time, but that's my first time going to that event. Yeah, that was real dope, and met a lot of people. Awesome. We just launched Bankcity DR, so we got a few members in Dominican Republic. So we got look at that. We're gonna start putting together an annual trip there and start like just networking and trying to build that space up. And
so you're already international.
Yeah, we just launched it, and we haven't traveled and really met with everybody yet, but that's one of the things we're working on. But cycling is one of those sports that once you get involved with it, it's a large community, but it's a small community. So everybody just start, recognizing you. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it really is. It's an awesome sight to see. Shaka, before we go on, can you bring your laptop screen down just a little? Because at times your chin is getting cut off. That's better. I want them to see a nice shirt. Okay. And one thing I forgot to mention, well, if you guys saw the flyer for this live, you've seen the apparel, but their apparel is hot. Like, I don't cycle, but I want to buy some just to work out in. And
you got to get on the bikes with us too.
Can I get on the stationary bike and just put it out there?
You can get on the stationary bike, but we have on Wednesday, we do Bike and Women Wednesday. It's for beginners. And it's suitable for anybody on any type of bike. It's for women, but guys come too. Beginner guys, we just stay in the back for security purposes, but to make sure the women are safe. But it's like a great opportunity just to ride if you don't really want to,
Yeah, no pressure.
Like, it ain't about going fast. It ain't about like, being an experienced rider. Like that ride is just to get used to riding and being on the street with cars and picking up little just the rules of how to call out, car left, car right.
Just like training.
It's just like a training ride, but it's nice though.
So you said any bike. So if I bring a tricycle out there, y'all will welcome me, or would you?
Yeah, we'll welcome you with the tricycle. I mean, I don't know if you want to bring a tricycle to be on the road. I mean, if that's what you come out there with, we're gonna work with you.
Yeah, good and well you'll be clowning me, but whatever. So I think that was a great overview in reference to the club. And I wanted you to talk a little bit more about it so that people can know that it's more than just riding. It's a community that you guys have built.
It's a community. We actually, I like to call it a brotherhood and a sisterhood.
I love it.
That's what we're trying to build. And we, and we got on our website, everybody who's a part of the club, we got a link, a directory for them to, put their business. So, for example, one of the guys who started out riding with us in the beginning, he do heat and air, for example, Ramadan heat and air. So if you're a member and you need a HVAC guy, then you can look in a phone book no, they don't use phone books anymore. I just told my age, didn't I?
Yeah.
I mean, you can go to Google, right? They still have phone book. All right, well, you can go to Google, but you can go to your directory and use somebody who's a part of your club. So we're trying to promote that type of, networking and brotherhood and sisterhood where everybody just like a family.
It's a connection, and
that's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah, I love it, and I'm just so excited to see how it's going to continue to grow, to take over the city, the country, and the world. And so at the end of this conversation, we'll get into details as to how you can follow and be a part of Bankcity if you're interested. But I kind of want to break down some of the components of Bankcity. So, you say health is wealth, right? But that's the slogan, mission, or just, your motto. And so I kind of want to break that down. And I had health and wealth broken out in two, but we're gonna this is gonna be a loaded question, so you answer how you.
Okay.
But one, from the health perspective, kind of describe that outside of the obvious of being healthy. But even in that, describe your experience, not someone else's, but your experience as it relates to the holistic health part of
health as well.
And then two, talk about wealth. What does that mean, and how does the two bridge together?
Okay. I just wanted to say the slogan we have is get active. Health is wealth. Is something that I have in my bio.
For you personally?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But get active is our slogan, and that's just encouraging people to get active. Whether it's cycling or running, just
Yeah, no, that's good. I did see that on the website too. But a part of this conversation is talking about Bankcity as a whole, your role in Bankcity, and your role as a leader, as a father, husband, individual, right? And so I think that's why I probably pulled out what was in your profile.
The health, the health as well.
Yeah, and
I think we do, and part of the mission statement, it says to promote a healthy lifestyle. So you probably saw it in that too.
Yeah, but just tell us a little bit about your perspective with the health and wealth as
the health and wealth. Yeah. So for me, and the reason why that's in my bio, it's kind of like self-explanatory. I mean, but like wealth, most people consider wealth, their material possessions or their ability to acquire it, right? Most people. And for me, health is your wealth. The way you take care of your body, the type of things you feed your mind, the type of things you feed your spirit, and how you're able to overcome difficulty or obstacles, you know what I'm saying? So that's what the health part and component is for me. And I think, if you value that and secure the way you would secure your material possession, then we probably will all live a lot longer, healthy lives. Because let's be truthful, no matter how much material wealth you acquire, when God calls you back to him, you can't take none of it with you.
Can't take nothing.
Right. So your real wealth is the temple that God gave you. Right. So I think that's what that pretty much represents for me. So it's so to tie that into wealthy, because I try to think the right thoughts and I try to eat the right foods. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but this is my point. I try to exercise and, control the way I can deal with my emotions, the way it affect other people. I think that's what makes me wealthy.
Yeah. Yeah. And if again, you know how I do, Shaka. You say a statement one way, and I interpret it a different way based upon what I see. So Shaka is saying he tries. He don't try nothing. He does it. He's disciplined.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Try is me saying I'm always striving. But I don't want to get on here and make it seem like I'm perfect. You know what I mean? Like I don't stumble or I don't struggle with things. So I'm striving all the time. So
I get it.
So so
I get it.
Me saying trying is not weak at all. That's
I know. But what I see is doing
I'm striving. Yeah, I got you.
To me, there's a difference. There's some people.
No, I got you.
Some people try and they just can't get right.
Right. Well, that's not how I mean it. But
I'm trying to stop eating so much cake during the holidays, but I'm not.
But you're still doing it.
Sucker. I need help.
No.
I need help. And then he talked about eating right. Earlier, we were talking about Liberian food. For those who don't know me, I'm a first generation Liberian American, and his wife, while she's American, she's also Liberian and come with that whole family. So we were talking about the food, and he was like, I don't eat that, but not because he don't like it. He's just very picky because
I'm a picky eater.
Yeah. He makes sure he eats right. And so I
always been that way. Like the way I am, like quiet, and I'm pretty simple. Complicated, but I'm simple though. I can literally eat the same thing over and over again.
Oh wow, yeah.
I mean, if it's healthy, I can do it.
Yeah.
It's just a mind thing. So
I think that's good.
It don't take a lot to please me when it comes to food.
Yeah, no.
When me and my wife go to restaurants, I eat this. Most likely, I'm gonna order the same thing all the time. She don't even have to ask me, and I don't even care to try nothing new. That's just me.
No, that's awesome. Like for me, I like a variety because I get bored with the same, but there's pros and cons in both. Like it's a need for that mindset. And the way you eat is directly related to, how you live in your life and how your perspective is and what you're trying to do. So I think it's awesome. I'm not knocking it. I got to work in that area, but I'm a healthy person too, but it's just a matter of the variety. You're not going to always have a variety. So then what, right? So there's something else I wanted to ask. As far as the health and wealth component with Bankcity and not Bankcity, it is Bankcity.
Bankcity, that's
Bankcity Bike Club. I'm mixing bank, bike, whatever. But what stories have you heard from those who have, who joined, who started and joined, like as far as from the health perspective, physically and mentally? Like, do you have any like success stories you want to share? A couple of them?
Well, I probably should start with my own.
Okay.
I don't really. I got some stories from people, but
yeah, you're right.
I probably would share. Okay, let me start with me. I know for me, one of the things, like I told you, I didn't realize how therapeutic it would be for me to get on the bike and ride. And I really fell in love with it. The health benefits is a plus. Outside of, like you can't get away from that, but it's almost like therapy. It's like a peaceful place for me. So it's almost like I mean, you run, so it's maybe equivalent to what y'all do when y'all run.
Absolutely.
But I get there, I get in my little zone, and I can ride and just I look up and then we done did we did 100 miles, 60 miles or something like that. But not only that, The weight, my weight, I'm at the weight that I'm below 200 pounds, and I've never been that weight since high school. That's 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably in the best shape or in conditioning that I've been in a long time. That's awesome. And since high school, probably.
Yeah.
Or somewhere close to that time. And that's 20 plus years, like I said.
Yeah.
And one thing about me, I always kind of lift weights. So I was kind of heavier, like bulkier. Mm-hmm. But I hated cardio. Cycling, now I love cardio. Well, the cycling aspect of it. And now me train or wanting to become like a triathlon athlete and take it to the next level, which includes running. Yep. I done started getting into running too.
Yep.
And I hated running coming up. So
yeah. And what's interesting is, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning, Shaka used to run track, but it wasn't long distance. And so
I was a sprinter.
Yeah, he was a sprinter. Shaka had this big afro. Like if he had the afro now, you wouldn't be able to see the end of it because it was just big. And he was so fast. Like, but everything he's described now as far as his discipline, everything, it mirrored what who he was in middle school. And I believe he played football too, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So he's always been athletic.
For a little while.
Say it again?
For a little while.
For a little while?
Yeah, for a little while.
Oh, yeah. That's what
I mean, I didn't get to play long.
Oh, for a little, you're okay, got you. I see what you're saying.
In high school.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you probably don't know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, but I didn't know if you wanted to.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this is your storytelling, so whatever you want to share, you can share it.
Oh man, I don't care. I don't think
perspective building from that and learning just lifelong lessons. And actually, since you're sharing that, kind of tie it into the evolution of Shaka, the health, wealth, and then we're going to get into the lifestyle because, one thing about me in reference to working out, right? When I'm in the gym or if I'm outside running, I directly relate it to life and what I'm facing or what I face. So like, for instance, this morning, all I kept hearing God say was push this weight. I didn't want to push the weight. I wanted to, do some other stuff, but he had me push the sled and put a lot of weight on it. And I was pushing it, but then I had to get out of my mindset of, I don't feel like doing it. And I was pushing it as if I'm pushing my way through my goals and through purpose. And so I was in a whole nother zone when I was doing that. And so then when I get in life, like outside of the gym, I handle it different because I'm comparing the two. And so I kind of want you to talk about that as far as your life and, things you did that, mistakes, wins, losses, whatever you want to talk about. But go ahead. I'll give you the floor on that. Starting with the football.
Well, before I go to the football, I just wanted to share. You asked me about somebody else's experience. I ain't gonna say his name.
Okay.
But I would say, I just tell a little bit about the conversation we had. So I came to him. He's been very helpful with the club, and he didn't start riding with us initially.
Okay.
And I had came to him one time, like, man, appreciate the help because he's done some things, and I tried to like offer him something. He wouldn't take it. Mm-hmm. So, that's a good sign, as far as when you're talking about, people volunteering their label to be helpful and you're not getting paid for it. So it's got to be like a love label, right? Absolutely. So you got to have the time.
Absolutely.
And the heart. And he has that type of spirit. So I was just telling him, I was like, as we reorganize, you would be like, one of the ones that we would definitely love to bring in a fold, if that's something you would be interested in. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, I'd be honored. I'm like, for real? Like, because, a lot of times people be thinking, man, I don't feel like being bothered. And you're thinking you're going to burden them, right? Because it requires a little bit of time. But he was just like, I'd be honored. I'm like, for real? Because I was shocked he just said it like that. He was like, yeah, man, you don't understand. I was at a certain place in my life. And he was like, y'all brothers with riding and what cycling offered me, it changed my whole life. And I feel like I'm forever indebted. And I was like, well, listen, I mean, you would be honored, bro. We would be honored. You know what I'm saying? Like, still reverse it to him, but
Yeah.
that's just my point. So I didn't go into detail of what he was going through. I didn't ask him because I didn't feel like that was my place, and he didn't go into detail. But just to give you an example, that was just simple.
No, that's beautiful, and that's what you guys are creating, an opportunity.
Right. And we don't even be knowing it. That's the dope thing about it. Like a lot of times, you don't really know how you're impacting people's lives. So,
people are watching,
and sometimes we take that for granted.
We absolutely do, but people watch. There's people that may not ever say anything to you, but they are really being impacted through just watching you. Watching you guys, watching, holistically. So we don't really have to get into the football story unless you want to, but I want to switch over.
What do you think? I mean, it's not a big deal to me.
Well, with that part, we'll get to it in the bucket for lifestyle, because I'm gonna we'll group it in later because it'll tie into that part. So I do want to switch over to the last bucket, which is about lifestyle, right? And, when I think about lifestyle, it's defined as the way in which a person or a group lives their life. My motto is I'm life, and I'm going to live it abundantly in every season. I don't care if I'm up, down, winning, failing, which is still winning, I'm going to live, which is that perspective to me is a healthy lifestyle. And so overall, I kind of want you to talk about what does a healthy lifestyle look like to Shaka?
Pretty much the similar things to what we talked about. I think we went more into like the cycling aspect of it. But when I was talking about health is wealth, outside of cycling, a healthy lifestyle is how you treat yourself, but it's also how you treat others, how you communicate with people. How you de-escalate situations and avoid situations that ain't positive and productive. Like all that to me is related to a healthy lifestyle, and it's also related and goes back to health as well. You see, because everybody don't have the mindset to be able to resolve a conflict before it happens. You see what I'm saying? And some people it's easy. I think it's easy for me, but it's probably a skill, but all that is part of the lifestyle. So
you said something key. You said resolve a conflict before it happens.
Right.
What do you mean?
So
I know what you mean by that. I want you to articulate.
Yeah, just like being proactive, right? And any example can, like you got the okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, let's say for example, I'm in my car, I get pulled over by the police, and it's on a dark street.
That's a good example.
Okay, right? He gets out the car, and I'm a black male, so he might have his hand on his gun. Now, he say license and registration, and sometimes I may say, well, I wouldn't say, but sometimes people want to know why they were pulled over in the first place. I'm gonna probably most likely comply because I'm gonna start already thinking about conflict resolution. I'm a black male on a dark street. I don't want to, if he is the type of police officer that's looking for a reason to, kill somebody and he knows it's gonna be a justifiable homicide, I don't want to incite that in him. So I'm already be thinking proactive. I'm gonna be, yes, sir, right? But some people, if they know that they, they license is straight, they wasn't speeding, they might want to, you just pulled me over because you were black, you know what I mean? And things like that. And I'm not saying, something's wrong with that, but is that the best effective way to, handle that situation at that time? We just said it was a dark street. So that's what I mean. No. And that was just, and I know that was random, but
no, it wasn't random. Look, I'm asking you to break down these simple things because everybody does not see it that way. And that example you just gave is perfect, because what happened last year and this year, and as we just move through life, a lot of us are angry, right? Because life is not fair. And we deal with a lot of prejudices and racism and all of that, but we have to channel that anger in a way that works for our benefit. But it's hard. But when people see, like with you, and I don't even know the right terms to use. I feel like I'm so old, but you're cool, you lay back, you can, you can blend, you can resonate with the youth and, the older generation. And so to hear you talk like that, it's going to resonate deeper than if it's somebody else, if that makes sense. And so I'm glad you pull out that example. This is not one of my questions, but I want to ask this before I forget. Do you see yourself like mentoring or speaking to kids or even adults as it relates to health, wealth, investing? Just what are your thoughts on that?
I can see myself doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's what God got in store for me, but if that is what He has in store for me, I think I'm very capable of doing it and probably doing it, pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
And if I can translate what he just said, no, probably he can and will do it very good. And I know that's what God has for him, but God's got to confirm it for him as well. But I'm just saying. No, Shaka is just, and like I said, we don't have enough time to just talk. But when we sat down and talked, and what I thought was going to be really like a 30, 45-minute conversation, I believe it was like maybe 2, maybe even almost 3 hours. I don't know, but we were just breaking down and breaking down and breaking down. And, he, like I said, he's cool, calm, and collected, but he was excited. And he was giving perspectives that I'm not used to hearing, or maybe that I assume would not have been his perspective. And so a question that that I asked you about, we didn't get deep into it, but about purpose. Do you feel like you're fulfilling purpose as you're doing what you do personally and professionally or in the community?
I believe it's a start. I believe it's definitely a start to greater things. Mm-hmm. I don't believe I fulfilled my purpose, but I think this is a start of a journey on that fulfillment, right? Mm-hmm. And I can see or visualize, cycling and what I'm doing now leading into so much bigger things. Mm-hmm. That if I look back at the cycling aspect of it, I'd be like, it'd be so, it'd be so insignificant, you know what I'm saying, to a degree, because most people just thinking it's cycling. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, did I answer your question?
No, you did. You did. And just to add a little bit on that, because I definitely, none of us have fulfilled purpose until our time here is up. But, just from my view, you are absolutely for fulfilling purpose, but it's every day. Like that's in everybody's view on purpose is different. But for me, it's an everyday fulfillment that leads to something bigger, that leads to something bigger, that leads to something bigger. And so when you look back over your life and how everything just connects, it has you right where you are now, and you're about to take off even higher. But it's a continual, thing.
I think the fulfillment piece for me would come more. Not that it ain't there, but it will come more for when I look back on my life and I can see how many people I impacted.
Yes.
So then it would feel a little different. Yeah. It's so early in the process right now. So.
No, I feel you. You want to see what you've done.
Or just know, like when it's so early, right? And I told you that story, but that's cool. But it's like when you can like start impacting like millions of people, like I think that's dope.
Yeah, it is, and it's happening, and it will continue to happen. That's just my thoughts, but whatever. What did you say here? I'm going to pull out a couple of things. So I want to talk about legacy, because that keeps coming up just over the past few weeks with different conversations I've been having. And when you think about legacy, what do you think about legacy when you hear the term legacy, and how are you creating it or not? Like whatever your definition of legacy is.
Yeah. So when I think about legacy, it goes back to like kind of like with purpose. And for me, legacy it's when you can look back and, or even if you're not here anymore, but you know, some type of institutions or some type of impact that you had that's going to continue to benefit the masses long after you gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I think about when I think about legacy.
Yep. When you speak about health and wealth and lifestyle, all of that, not only for your, of course, kids and family, but for generations of people that you're touching that you don't realize, right? And of course,
Right.
you may hear stories here and there, but it extends way past that. And so what you're doing with Bankcity, even what you're doing with, you know, your trucking business and just other things that you may not have mentioned, is creating a great legacy. And I'm just excited to hear about it. You're also producing a lifestyle that I would consider to be successful, but I want you to break down what success looked like to you.
It kind of ties into the same thing, you know, like it's not monetary for me. Money come, right? But I think success is like fulfilling your purpose when you find out your purpose. And that's when you find like peace, and that's when you find joy from God. And so like it's so many things that in my heart that I desire to do, that I can see that the cycling way can be a foundation for that, but it's not necessarily cycling related. Actually, it's not cycling related at all. But so that's I mean, and I didn't really touch on that a lot, but you know, for example, like, you know, some people have a desire to want to help bring affordable housing to the inner city, right? And get into property development and help build like different type of, you know, institutions where we can, you know, do things independent for ourselves, and we don't have to be so dependent on other people to provide the needs for our own people. Mm-hmm. And it ain't nothing wrong with that, because all communities do it, but you know, so things in that direction.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. So then let me ask you, how do you view failure?
How do I view failure?
Yeah, failure, right? Because when I say failure, let's say you're trying something and it doesn't work out, or you make a mistake, or you do something, or whatever. How do you view that?
Well, just asking, the first thing popped in my head when you just asked me that, right, was not trying at all. Other than that, then I don't think it's a such thing, you know, like, you know, even if you don't accomplish a goal at the time, if you attempted it, then you learn something from it, right?
There we go.
You learn what will work, what won't work. So is that failure? No, that's not failure at all.
There you go.
So,
but if you don't try,
if you don't try, right? Or if you don't attempt something, then yeah.
Gotcha. I like that. You see, I told y'all he deep. He deep. He is deep. So I'm trying to think. In reference to the investment side, I kind of want to touch on that a little bit if you know feel led to do that. I follow what is his name? I forget his name. Wall Street Trapper.
Wall Street Trapper.
Yeah, and Earn Your Leisure and some other podcasts. I forgot the lady's name, but what's being promoted now a lot is about wealth building. Of course, Jay-Z, you know, talked about it within his album. I forgot which album that was, but you know, I just sit back and think like how much further along we as a people could be if we would have heard these things growing up. Not saying that no Black person heard it, right? But you know, right. A lot of us did not. I know I did not. So I kind of want to talk about your perspective on that, which is connected to wealth and lifestyle, but it's more than just the money aspect. But you want to talk about that a little? Like, how have you found love, passion, joy within that whole investment world?
Yeah, that's fine. For me, so Wall Street Trapper and a lot of these guys, I'm just now coming familiar with these guys. Mm-hmm. And when I first got into like the crypto space, they weren't around, or if they was around, I didn't know who they were. Yeah. So this was like 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And what attracted me to the space was just I'm one of those kind of like, I wouldn't say weird, but to some people it may be weird. Like to my peers, it may be weird because they ain't into the things I'm into, but I'm into like, you know, like geopolitics and fiscal policy and monetary policy. And, you know, I got a little basic understanding of how the banking system work and, you know, how the Federal Reserve was established and, you know, the petrodollar and things like that. So that's what attracted me to crypto because I was new and understood the history of like fiat currency, which is paper money that ain't backed by nothing. All paper dollars is basically fiat currency across the world. And, so I started learning about decentralized and centralized technology, and me already having a slight understanding of monetary and fiscal policy, it was easy for me to be like, okay, I know this is an alternative. It's like a hedge because it's not correlated in a sense. So that led me into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency, but Bitcoin in particular. And it was one of the best decisions that I made in my life. As far as, you know, I got into Bitcoin when it was like $3,000, and it of course fluctuated over the years. But I mean, it's up to, I don't even really pay attention to the price that much. But I think it's what, at like around 50 something, or I'm not sure. I have to check. But I know it's been as high as 65.
Yeah.
So Wall Street Trapper, I think he talked a little bit about crypto, but I think primarily his thing is stocks, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so stocks, yeah, I mean, it's not really like I'm not heavy into stocks. And I buy and sell stocks, or I might do some options, or some call options, but I'm not heavy into stocks. I like crypto as a long-term investment. And outside of that, it's been the day trader.
Gotcha.
For me. But I do like what a lot of these brothers is doing, because they're bringing like the knowledge that I had to like learn. I actually had to like, you know, do research, and I mean, you still have to do that, right? But now you have a coach who can like just guide you step by step.
But you self-taught yourself.
So I kind of sort of did. I mean, but I did research, and I follow podcasts and learn from people. But my early journey cost me a lot of money. I lost a lot of money in the beginning going through that learning curve.
Yeah.
And they kind of like helps you avoid those type of things.
Yeah. Yeah. So to me, it don't sound like you're weird. You sound like you're smart. Sounds like intelligence to me.
I mean, when you start talking about like, you know, quantitative easing and fractional reserve banking and stuff like that, and just using the term fiat currency, people be like
what? What you talking about? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's somebody who sits on a board with me. She used to read textbooks for fun.
Right. Okay.
Somebody may say that's weird. I said, no, you need to come on this team because you're smart. If you're reading a textbook for fun, you are smart, honey. Come on this team. But, you know, everybody have their own perspective and what interests them or not. But I brought that up because, again, that's another opportunity as far as being, you know, influencing. And so when I look at, and I mentioned Wall Street Trapper, and I forgot the guy's names who hosts the podcast Earn Your Leisure, but they are everyday, you know, guys where they don't have on those business suits to talk about stocks and bonds, because immediately you may feel like, oh, that's above your head. But what I love about them is they break it down into terms that can be understood, or like Wall Street Trapper, he connects it to street terms, which helps to resonate with that group. And so when I look at you, holistically, with the health aspect, lifestyle, investment, Bitcoin, stocks, whatever have you, there's just so much wealth of knowledge and resource that you bring that I think the city and the world needs to hear, because there is somebody for everybody. And I know for you, you definitely can resonate with people who have not been tapped into yet. And so that's why I wanted you to kind of talk about that, to bridge everything all together holistically. So yeah, I think this has been an awesome conversation. I don't know if there's anything that maybe you wanted to cover that we did not touch on, but we talked about the health, the wealth, the lifestyle. We talked about Bankcity Shaka. We talked about Shaka. We talked about the Bankcity Bike Club. Is there anything else within that that you want to kind of highlight or clarify before I move on?
No, I think that was, I think we touched on everything.
You touched on everything? Okay.
I believe so.
Okay. Well, I think you did an awesome job. And like I said, there's so much more to share and talk about, but obviously we can't sit here for hours. But you know, there's opportunities for people to connect, to continue that conversation if need be. But you guys, we just want to thank you for joining. Because again, this is, well, it's not Christmas Eve, it's kind of Christmas Eve because people are still trying to.
Almost.
But thank you for joining. And this conversation is going to be posted on a Socialite Productions YouTube. And when I post it, I will share it. So there's opportunity to still catch it and watch it. But before we close out, I want Shaka to let everybody know how they can follow him and or Bankcity Bike Club on social media and website.
Okay. It's Bankcity Bike Club on Instagram and Facebook. And bankcitybikeclub.com is the website if you want to become a member or find out more information about what we're trying to do as far as with cycling. I'm Bankcity Shaka on Instagram and Facebook. That's all I have right now. So.
You know, they keep it. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I love following them. Like I said, I don't cycle, but I get hyped because they take you on a journey with them. And then Shaka also takes you on the journey on his page. And I start just being, whatever I do, don't matter. I get hyped when I see them riding. Like they show video of just all of them riding. And what gets me is it's a diverse group of people. It's from young to old, big, small, white, black, woman, you know, different women, different skill set. And they all are in their suits just riding, and it's always just love. Now I don't know what goes on behind the scenes because you know no group.
It's love behind the scenes.
It's love, and they talk mess to each other, which I like because it's fun, y'all. You should follow. Yeah. So that's how you can keep in touch with them. Let me ask: is there a cost to be a part of Bankcity, or is it donations, or it's just free? How does it?
We do have a yearly membership. Mm-hmm. The 2020 membership was $69, and it came with the welcome T-shirt, all of the classes that we're offering for training and different things like that with Trek, a discount also at the store, a members discount at the store, members discount on the website. I can't think of everything else, and we're actually still, we're working through the 2021 membership package as we speak, and it ain't finalized. I mean, and it ain't finalized yet, but bankcitybikeclub.com, and we'll have everything posted. We do a founders ride that would be in April, I believe. Every year, it's like the kickoff of the cycling season. We do several events throughout the year. Equality ride. We just, you know, so our website, we have a calendar, and we just keep everybody updated in the community what's going on, if they want to be a part of it and things like that. So that's one way to check that out.
Absolutely. I saw you guys have is it an intake form? Intake form. So yeah, if someone is curious, they can go on, and of course somebody will contact them. Now, what if, you know, somebody like me who's not sure if they want to fully commit to riding, I just want to kind of try it out.
Oh, you just come out and ride. So we post our days on the calendar as well, and I can just run through. We do a Tuesday ride, we do a Wednesday ride, we do a Thursday ride, and we do a Saturday and a Sunday ride. And the Sunday is a group ride for like everybody. It's one group. We don't leave it. It's a no drop ride, which means nobody's getting left.
Yeah.
Tuesday, we do the airport loop ride, which is we break up in groups. So you just ride with your group and you still don't get left. Unless you try to ride with the A group, which is the only group that's a drop ride.
Okay.
Nobody who don't ride would try to ride with the A group anyway.
Got you.
And Wednesday is Bike and Woman Wednesday, which is for beginners, which is, I love it. It's a dope ride. You know, it's laid back, it's chill.
Yeah.
And it's a ride that you come to get your confidence built up. So
yeah, I love it. It's various opportunities, various levels. So, well, you guys, as he said, you know how to follow the club, and I really hope people will take advantage because it's just cool. I'm talking about people. I guess I'm people as well. I'm gonna come out one day, but while y'all are riding, I'm gonna run and cheer y'all on. I'll run, maybe not 100 miles, but I'll run 10 miles maybe.
We got people who actually ride there, run with they call it bricks, right? A brick workout, right? Yeah. So I mean, I do it with you.
Okay, all right. We'll talk offline.
You don't leave me running, I won't leave you on the bike.
There we go. But as long as the bike is in the big parking lot with no traffic, we good. Anyway, we're gonna close out. Before we close, I'm a close us. Shaka is gonna close us out with the last word or statement or whatever he wants to say. But before we close, I want to take a selfie as I always do. So you ready, Shaka?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and a silly one.
That was my silly one.
You said what?
That was my silly one. I was like,
that wasn't silly. You were smiling. But okay, for you, that's silly. For you, that's silly. But you guys, again, thank you for joining us. Shaka, last words.
The last words is what I would have said, just, invite people to come out to join the community and see if they're interested in cycling, see if they want to add that to their healthy lifestyle, and just giving the information that I gave. So,
got you. And if
Bankcity Bike Club.
I'm sorry. I said you have the last words, and look at me still asking.
No, that's fine. I was done. That was it.
Okay, and if anyone, let's say, want you to come to speak to a group like a youth or the underprivileged club or just whatever, is that an opportunity that you would take advantage?
Yeah, sure,
okay.
Sure.
Okay, so you guys have the information, but thank you again.
So should I include my email as well?
Yeah, well, when I share the YouTube video, I'll have all that information, and even the website and Bankcity information on there too, so they will have it. But thank you again, Shaka. You don't know how much I appreciate this. There will be more of this in some fashion. Don't know, but it's coming. You guys, thank you again. Have an awesome Christmas holiday. Those who may not be feeling in the holiday spirit, my prayer is that God will give you the peace and the joy you need during this time, because I know it can be heavy for some. But thank you guys. Have an awesome night. Shaka, you have a good night. I will talk to you after we log off. All right. Bye, everyone.